Best multi-tool, Victorinox Compact. We'll start out there. If you're looking for a small, literally compact tool to do pretty much everything you need, I recommend the Compact. But if you need a pliers, that changes things. Now, Victorinox does have an offering. I just don't find it to be that great. So Victorinox, I don't consider to be the best. When it comes to just knife multi-tools, yeah, Victorinox dominates. But pliers, this is a very well-made tool. It's a bit jank. I don't like the one-handed opening method there, and I don't like how difficult it is to remove tools from this. It's kind of a nail destroyer. I think that they've gotten better, but the Swiss tool, beautifully made. This is the best made tool we'll be looking at this whole day, but the outside opening tools are almost inaccessible, but the pliers are excellent, and the fit and finish is excellent. So we know that Victorinox isn't making the best plier-based multi-tool. So next, Gerber. Come on. Gerber center drive. If this tool fits your use case perfectly, I would say that this is then the best tool for you, because I really love this tool. The pliers is good. The center drive, namesake here, very interesting design, really good design. It does hold an extra bit, and it's a full 1/4 inch. Really like this. This is an excellent tool. If this is what you need in a tool and this fits the bill, it's probably the best for you then, because I love the center drive. But this does not fit everyone's needs, so not really great. I don't really like this blade. The file is kind of whatever, and the other tools are whatever. If you really use your 1/4 inch, this is an awesome tool. And this is probably the only tool. It's this, and I think the Dual Force are the two tools that I would recommend from Gerber, and I do think are worth buying. But aside from this and the Dual Force, I can't think of another tool I would buy from Gerber. There's some knives and such, but this is great. The rest is whatever. So next, Roxxon. Roxxon, I want to love this. I want to love this, and you'll hear why later. But the Roxxon Flex, I want to love this, but I just don't. I feel it's finicky. The tools are not my favorite. They have some really great ideas though. Like, I love this chisel tool here. This is a great tool, wire stripper chisel. It's very similar to the Victorinox tool, which you're gonna see why. Yeah. So I'm trying to get this out. This is not a bit. I'm not, joking. Yeah, so I have to pull out a Victorinox to open my Victorinox. So you see the problem here. Okay. This is an incredible tool. Is this the right one? Yeah. Chisel, wire stripper, great. Here, very similar design. This one's probably a bit better in shape, but I do like the length on this one. So we have great tool ideas. What makes the Roxxon Flex special is you can then just remove whatever you don't want, swap them out, and then put a new tool in. And I love modifying tools. I love the modularity. I just feel it's not there yet. It's like 95% of the way there, but it's not all the way. So because of that, and the unlocking locking mechanism, I also don't like. I do find it finicky and just not to my liking. I really do like how it pops open all the tools. That I will give them. It is a nice operation. The bit driver is really nice. It's almost there. It's almost perfect. If this was, 5% more, then yeah, this would be my pick. But because of that, the Roxxon Flex ecosystem, I mean, you can buy it, and I do like it, but I wouldn't recommend it as the best. So then, of course, we're at Leatherman. Now, what does Leatherman have? Why does Leatherman win? Why does Leatherman stand above these other companies? So we'll address it. So for starters, and I did give other companies other options. You know, I talked about the dual force with Gerber, how that was a really good tool. So don't be thinking I'm giving Leatherman, you know, extra flowers, so to speak. The Mutt. If you're looking for a range tool, this is the only option on the market I can think of. You know, what it does, the space it fills, there is nothing else like it, and it is the best within its space. So, you know, Leatherman automatically wins in the range tool department. Now, that's not what everybody needs, but if that is what you're looking for, you know, the Mutt is king. You know, there's nothing like the Mutt, and there's nothing that fills that space. So if you're looking for a range tool, this just wins, hands down. Now, then we go to the high end. What is the best? The Arc. The Leatherman Arc really is the best tool that Leatherman's ever put out, and I do believe the best multi-tool on the market. So why does the Arc, you know, take that spot? So the free technology, very satisfying to use. It's just a nice experience. Now, we then have a great file, and we have a good diamond file. We know that Leatherman's tools are time tested. They last a long time. They're aggressive. We have this scraper tool, is good. The microbit, we could deal with something else. Can and bottle opener, I don't really care. The scissors are okay. They're not that great. They're not nearly as good as Victorinox, but nothing's as good as Victorinox. Victorinox does just rule the roost when it comes to scissors. These are pretty good. Pretty good. Next, MagnaCut blade. They have the best blade on a multi-tool. The only blade that ever came close to this on a multi-tool was the Spyderco Spider Wrench, which is no longer in production, and it was like a full-size actual knife on a multi-tool, and there isn't anything close to that. Nothing on the table is even close. The saw. Leatherman has excellent saws. They work very well. They're very well tuned. Then, of course, we have the flat bit system and the can opener. Don't care about the can opener. Their flat bit system, I would prefer you get rid of the can opener and you just have a 1/4 inch drive. Now, that is what I have on my personal Leatherman, which is another very important feature. This is easily modifiable. It's very easy to modify. There's lots of people who make parts for this system. Leatherman have probably the largest modding community in the world, well, in the multi-tool world. You can find almost whatever you want to put in. You can find different bits. You used to be able to find different metal 3D printed bits. That's more difficult. But if you have a Surge, there's hammer mods for the Surge. There's mods for the Crunch. There's mods for almost every Leatherman, especially the Free Series. So you have a wide array of customizability, which you don't have here. You do have here, but you do have it here through the third-party options. Now, it's not as extensive, but you start out with a better tool. Now, the price reflects that. This is, ignore that it's the black one. I think the regular is like $250 right now. I would recommend you buy used. Why not? Save the planet, save your wallet, buy something used, and if you're going to use it, who cares? Unless you're collecting it. Obviously, this one hasn't been used, but my actual one is, beat to hell. So we have the high end. Leatherman dominates the high end. So then they also dominate the mid-range. For years, I carried a Wave. I loved my Wave. I still do love the Wave. Not my favorite blade. Great saw. Then we have the file and the knife. These are the tools you're going to be using the most. That and this, and they're all accessible. Now, these also suffer from not being very accessible, but the Wave is about as time-tested and useful as you can get. No one that you say Leatherman Wave to is going to say, oh, that's a piece of trash, because it has shown that it's one of the best. Even with the patents expiring, this is probably their highest sold tool, and it's, I think, $139, and they do run sales. That's brand new. You can buy them used. I bought a bunch of these to give away, and I think I paid $65 or $70 each. That's a great deal. Now, you might not be able to find the exact same deal as I did, but you will be able to find them used, and you will be able to find good prices. You might even be able to find a better price. So if you are looking for just a mid-range tool, because this is not low range, it's not budget, but $70 for the amount that you're getting here, I think is very fair. A pair of Cobra pliers, now this is not as good as Cobra pliers, that's a whole separate thing, but you're going to be spending $40 plus, depending on the size and a bunch of other things. So highly recommend the Wave, and it's very moddable as well. So you have extra incentive there. So that's why I think that Leatherman still dominates. I didn't really talk about Nextool. The reason I didn't talk about Nextool is I only own one Nextool tool, and it is not like a mass market item. It's just a fun tool. So I don't feel that that represents Nextool and their offerings properly. But that's because Nextool's tools don't really speak to me, and I don't think that they've really found their footing personally. I like a lot of their designs, but I wouldn't carry them. I mean, I have carried this. I did some modding to it as well. I was working on scales for it to store some Swiss tool implements. But this is just a pain to open. This is a beautiful tool. And this is kind of very similar to the Gerber, where if these tools fit your personal use case perfectly, these are probably the best tool in that range. It's like the Mutt, where if you're looking for the Mutt, that's the best. If this, ticks all the boxes for you, this is the best. But if you're looking for a general tool that you do want to mod and is higher end, the Arc just trounces. There's nothing better. And if you're looking for a mid-range tool that is easily moddable and has a lot of options and accessories and has a big ecosystem behind it, the Wave is the best. And now the Roxxon, I will give it to Roxxon that I think if you are looking for something to experiment with, the Roxxon is a really fun tool. And I don't want to insult Roxxon. I think they put a lot of work into this, and I think it's really close. And when they come out with maybe a different style frame, because the mechanism is, you can work within the tools, but I think the frames need a little bit of work, and I think that could make it really great. So that's my best multi-tool discussion, and I feel I'm pretty fair. Obviously, I'll feel that way, but I don't think that I gave Leatherman too much props. They are expensive. A lot of their tools are, they're becoming almost unattainable in some respects. I don't like that. Like I said at the beginning, the best non-pliers tool is $50, and this for $50 is a little much. I get that this requires some hand labor to put the parts in, but sell it with it. Don't put it in. Just put it in the box. I'll put it in. Save me a little bit of money. If that's a concern. So it's my thoughts on that. But if you have the money, the Arc. If you have less money, the Wave. If your interests fall into a specific range, or these tools, the tool sets included with these tools fit your use case, these may be the best for you. But I think overall, if I'm going to recommend a tool to somebody, I probably recommend the Wave. I've given away a bunch of Waves, and I've also given away some Arcs. So the Arc and the Wave are probably my number 1 and 2 recommendations. I wouldn't normally recommend the Arc just because if you're not really into multi-tools, 250 for a well, even if you are into multi-tools, 250 for a multi-tool is a bit nuts. I understand the apprehension with spending that kind of money on what is almost pocket jewelry, because this does 99% of what this does for half to a quarter the price. I mean, you can get this used too, so it is what it is. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and if you feel differently, feel free to tell me in the comments down below. God bless you, and have a great day.